Minimum stay restrictions help us control how long guests can book our listings for certain dates. To set these up, we click Edit under Customizations, go to the Stay Restrictions tab, and open the Minimum Stay settings. Here, we enable the minimum stay settings. Under Select a Minimum Stay Profile, we see PriceLabs recommended options for short-term, mid-term, and multi-unit rentals, so we can match the market's minimum stay. Select the appropriate option for your listing. Then, set the shortest booking length you wish to allow. For example, if you want a 2-night minimum at any day, enter 2 nights for both weekday and weekend under Lowest Minimum Stay. Then click Review Recommended Stay Settings to see suggested settings for each month. These will apply to your calendar monthly. Once you're happy, close the window and save. You can also follow the same steps for midterm and multi-unit rentals, with only the recommended settings changing. You can review those using the same button. If you already have minimum stay profiles, you can also pick them from the drop-down. If you prefer to manually set it, we choose Custom to set our own rules. You can set different minimum stays for weekday and weekend, or use Day of the Week to set rules for each day of the week. The default minimum stay rule covers any dates without special rules. Use the drop-down to pick Fixed or Booking Value. Fixed lets you set default minimum stays for weekdays and weekends. Make sure both fields have numbers above 0. For example, a 2-night minimum can be set for all days. If there are no special rules, that's all we need. The Booking Value option lets us set a minimum stay based on booking price. For example, if you set a value of 400, bookings under 400 won't be allowed. Next, we have orphan gaps, which are short open periods between bookings. This setting lets you set a different minimum stay for those gaps so they stay bookable. The first 2 drop-downs set the minimum nights for orphan weekdays and weekends. If we pick Length of Gap, the rule matches the gap's length. So, a 2-night gap will need a 2-night booking. The next 2 fields let us define which gaps count as orphans. If we enter 2, the rule applies only to 2-night gaps. Longer gaps use the default rule. For last-minute bookings, we can set minimum stays to help fill shorter-term openings. The first 2 fields set minimum stays for last-minute weekdays and weekends. The third field sets how far in advance the rule applies. For example, for the next 14 days, guests can book at 1 night. The minimum stay for far-out booking setting lets you set minimum stays for dates far in advance, which helps us get longer bookings. The first 2 fields are for weekends and weekdays, and the third sets how many nights ahead this rule starts. For example, bookings more than 90 nights away need a 5-night minimum. This is how we set up minimum stays for weekdays and weekends. To do it by day, the steps are similar, but we enter a minimum for each day. For example, 2 nights from Monday to Thursday, 3 for Friday, 2 for Saturday, and 1 for Sunday. The same rules apply for other settings. For example, you can set gap lengths from Monday to Saturday, and just 1 night for Sunday, with gaps of 1 to 2 nights. This works for all minimum stay rules, so you can simply do the same for last minute and far out minimum stay. Once done, you can click Save Changes.